I'm choosing to be hooded up today. So there's a guy behind me apparently. I don't know if he knows I'm live streaming. Let me know if you can hear me. Oh, I was hoping, hey, let me know you're here. I'm going to put this in here because I'm going to be at the beach in a minute and it's going to be windy. But I figured if I wear my hoodie and if I hide this in here somehow, I can protect it from the wind and maybe you can still hear me. Okay, cool. Oh, how's that going to work? I'm not sure. Can you let me know if you can hear me all right? Because I don't know if that's going to work. Okay. Huge energy at the moment. And I've got my hoodie on because I feel like I want to hide from the world. So when you want to hide from the world, you come out and you live stream, of course. Of course. Let me know if you feel the whole reality shifting and merging right in front of you, because that's how I feel. Ready? Look where I'm walking. Hey, Kay, check it out. If you watch my stories, you'll see this is my favourite path on the beach, to the beach. I'm not sure how windy it is down here. I'm just hoping that my hoodie can hide it. Well, it's not too windy. It's not as windy as I thought. So if it does get too windy and you can't hear me, please let me know. But I wanted to talk about this reality shifting, feeling out of time, feeling like not like you're running out of time, like feeling like, what is it, like, I don't know if the words, okay, maybe like it's like collapsing time. Does anyone else feel that? Can you please let me know? Talk to me, people, talk to me. Okay, cool, it sounds fine, sweet. I'm just hiding my microphone in there. Yeah, like feeling like collapsing timelines, I guess, more than like, not like you're running out of time, like not that. But there is some people that feel anxious as well, unsettled, like the world is falling out beneath them. Maybe that's me. Can anybody else tell me I'm not the only one losing my mind right now? Falling apart. Yeah, like falling apart. Like, I don't know, like last week, you guys. Oh, thanks. I got the hoodie look because I want to hide away from the world. So when I hide away from the world, I come on live stream, of course. No, I think I've been hiding away from the world long enough. I don't think I've live streamed since last week. So I'm just trying to, I know it's probably windy, but I'm just wanting to walk over here because there's two big, I don't know, Seahawks or eagles or something. I'm not the only one. Okay, awesome. Yeah, really unsettled, disturbed sleep. Yeah, I've been sleeping okay. It's my animals been waking up. And that's why I'm not alone. Okay, sweet. Woohoo! Yay, I'm not crazy. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, that's right. We're all in this together. Got it. That's why I create this world, right? With you guys. So we're not alone. Okay, now the eagle's disappeared. Okay, maybe he'll come back. All right. So I'm just going to kind of stand here. You've been hiding out too. Yeah, okay. So I'm at the beach. Wanted to come out here and live stream. Okay, so what am I wanting to say? So last week, I'm not sure if you guys caught me on live stream or watched my live stream, and I was sharing how I was like, okay, wait. Okay, when I feel it and I say it, like the world, the earth drops beneath my feet, but it's not like I drop into the earth. It's just that the atoms, like literally you kind of like floating in pure consciousness, right? And there's some more C for you, Angela. And in that space, maybe I didn't realize how much that was already happening in that time and space. Hey, Greg. And it just feels like really in a space of like especially earlier today, like it's kind of passed a little bit now, but I was just like, oh my gosh, like, you know, literally, like, and I posted in my private groups. I didn't know I was going to come on and talk about this detail, but hey, this is what I do, right? So, like, you know, in the movies when like they disappear into like a million atoms or a zillion atoms, and then they kind of like, you know, then they disappear into a different time and place and then come together again. Hey, look, there's a German Shepherd, but it's not mine. It felt like that, feels like that. And I know that I'm not alone, obviously, because you guys have been sharing that. And I did post in the private groups earlier today, and I posted publicly as well. I posted a bit more in my private groups. If you're not in my free reality awareness support group and you want to be, please send me a message and ask to be in that group, because I do share a bit more in depth than I do publicly in that group. Not all the time, but when I feel it. And the thing that I wanted to, you know, like, and it's kind of why I titled the live stream exactly like I did, you know, like when you're feeling in this space, like the thing that we step into is fear. And that's because we're stepping into a place of like infinite possibilities that we know in our soul and all of that, that is, you know, the truth of the reality, right? But what happens is that our mind doesn't have anything to cling on to. Our mind doesn't have anything to hold on to. And so that it goes into fear, because literally it just wants something to hold on to. It's just trying to grasp and hold on to something. And it at its core, it's change. And the message that I got just even driving here, because I knew I was going to talk about this, is the fact that when we've been working diligently on changing our reality, it's like now, and even my mentor posted it, I was feeling it even before she posted it, around, you know, like it right now is like a crucial element of change. And it's kind of been this way since about March, really strongly, by memory, by energetic memory. It feels that these changes have been really strong since March. And it's like, you know, literally, you know how they're talking about like 2012 and the shift in consciousness and stuff, like right now, like what's 2012, that's quite a few years ago now. So like we're kind of really in the midst of rapid accelerating consciousness and shifts into heart consciousness, and things will fall out of your reality. Things will disappear. People who you thought were going to be by your side are not. People who you thought were friends are coming out and, you know, showing you that they're actually not your friend. You know, all these sorts of things are like really coming into, you know, deep clarity. And the message that I got was, you know, when you feel that earth shifting out beneath your feet, don't drop into fear, right? Know that when you go, okay, cool, and it like falls apart, it's like have the normal human emotions, but then choose to rapidly pull yourself back into that vision that you have been embodying for quite some time. Because I'm really curious if everybody is feeling this, or whether there's just a group in the spider web thread of levels of shifts that are just going, okay, up we go, right? It is Laura. I am in Queensland, Australia, on the beach, and it is daytime. It's nearly 4 p.m. Tuesday tarot will be released very, very shortly. Yeah, all true for you. So tell me, is there something that I can help somebody with? Ask me questions, let me know what's happening for you personally, and I'll intuitively share a message that comes through. Would love to hear and help you. I know there's something else that I wanted to say. I don't know, Brittany, is he? If you have to question it, if you're in doubt and confusion, usually I'm feeling like, one, your energy is clouded, but when you have to question that sort of thing, when a guy's into you, you know, yeah? Plain and simple. Hey, there's that eagle. Can you guys see it? Where is it? See how close it is? I think he's trying to get the fisherman stuff. It's like there. I think it's like a seahawk or something. I don't think it's an actual eagle, but it's flying around here. And hawks are like, you know, hawk, eagle, very similar kind of message. It's like seeing the big picture, seeing the overview, seeing all of that, yeah? So yeah, Brittany, I'm sorry if that hurts your heart, but that is the definite kind of thing there that happens, is that if we have to question it, usually we already know the answer. If we're looking for an answer outside of ourselves, usually we already know the answer. You know, when you like read Tuesday Tarot and you're like, oh yeah, well I already knew that. Kind of like doubting yourself. Does anyone else have any questions for me? I know there's something else that I wanted to say, that's why I'm kind of sitting here waiting as well, because I know there's something else that I needed to share with you guys. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Carrie. That's what I was curious about, whether everyone on the globe's feeling it or whether it's just, you know, like the people that are more sensitive to energy. Because you know how I shared a few months ago, you know, like there's all the changes, like even the Privacy Act that came through with all the online businesses. You know, like, you know, you've probably got 1,000 emails saying we've updated our privacy policy, you know, like all that sort of thing. That's in alignment with big government changes throughout all the countries in the world, and you know, coming into a space of, you know, pure alignment ultimately. And you know, it comes back to this message coming through, is that, you know, it comes back to the 2012 shift or space, right? In a sense that, you know, like it's like, you know, for eons we've known that, you know, the masculine has been on a, like the divine masculine has been out of balance, right? It's been, what's the word? It's been, the divine masculine has been in the immature masculine, perhaps, because it's not that it's bad, right, good or wrong. It's just, you know, in a darker space, I guess. Controlling, you know, aggressive, dominant, all that sorts of thing. It's just the immature masculine, right? So we're shifting into the mature, you know, masculine, but the feminine's rising with that. And it's kind of like all these changes that are going on the planets, with the governments, with the, you know, or the way the systems work in the world. For instance, you know, like the Privacy Act, you know, making sure that people's rights are, I guess, cared for, you know, rather than just, you know, everyone knowing everyone's private data, or like, you know, for instance, right? So it's kind of like all these massive shifts are going on the world, and it's kind of like, well, these things need to happen, right? We're always going on about, like, we need this change in the world, there's so much stuff wrong in the world, you know, there's starvation, there's like all this jazz in the world, right? And it's like, well, to make those changes on the planet, big shifts have to happen. And it's kind of, it's already in motion, right? So when we see things falling apart or structures change, and, you know, like people crack the shits because, oh, structures are changing. Like, for instance, what's coming to mind is, you know, like Facebook, as, you know, going through all these lawsuits and whatever. I don't really know the details, but like I was locked out of my business account for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 days, and there was this big thread on Facebook, right? Yes, and suicide. Sorry, thank you for bringing that up. I really appreciate you bringing that up. I wanted to speak to that. I've been seeing a lot of suicide stuff too. You know, and like all these people on this thread about the Facebook businesses were cracking the shits and like, oh my God, this is so bad and Facebook better pay for this and all this sort of shit. And I'm just like, whoa, just take the weekend off or something. But the old Hannah would have been in the same space. I know that space, right? And it's just like, you know, these sort of shifts have to happen. And when, and it's just about not being in control again, right? So we come back into that space of like, when the earth shifts out beneath you, whether that's in, you know, the online world, whether it's in, you know, something in your physical life changing and relationships disappearing and, you know, moving house unexpectedly, or, you know, people dying around you unexpectedly, or a change in job or job loss or career change or whatever it is, when too many people being hateful, those sorts of things, right? When, you know, like when that stuff's going on, do you drop into fear? Do you buy into the fear? Or can you stay in that powerful vibration that the truth of the matter is that we are all atomic beings, right? We're vibrating energy at its core. And when we, you know, I guess, and the message coming through, I knew I had to say something else. The message coming through around this is the fact that like, you know how last week and I shared, you know, it's like the earth has shifted out beneath me, but it's not like I've dropped into the earth. It's just like I'm in pure consciousness of like atoms and energy, and like I could go anywhere without going anywhere, right? It's like when we have that awareness and when we can anchor that amount of power in our energy, in our being, in anything, that means that anything going on around us doesn't drop us into fear. We might go, oh, and then we go, oh, so I remember, cool, this is my normal state. This is my state. Like, you know how that space of, what is it? Like the Mayans, like the civilization, like they just literally disappeared, right? It's like they didn't, like there's no skeletons, there's no, you don't find the whole civilization in bones under the earth. It's like literally because they ascended to the next dimension, like whatever or wherever that is. It's like when we actually can feel and anchor in that sense that we are energy beings, and no matter what's going on around us, we can choose to be here or we can choose to be wherever we want to be. And if you've been working diligently through journaling or any of your consistent practices through visualizing into creating a better life or a new life for yourself and totally transforming your reality, you've got to kind of expect this to happen, right? And it's like when it actually happens, we do freak out and then we go, oh, hang on a sec, this is actually what I've been creating all along, right? So when, and the message coming through really strongly is that key point of like when you know that, like, there comes a point where we know we're energetic beings, we know it in our mind, and then it drops into a point of like we embody it. So that's when we feel it. That's when we're like so interconnected with everything and we feel every single thing around us. Sometimes that's not feeling nice when we feel things around us all the time, but when we can sense that and we have that power, that's our power. That's right? I saw someone post in my group on my comments thread saying, how, I don't know if I think it was you, Kristen, I don't know if you said, how do I have something to cling to? What is consistent and what is stable in such a transient, you didn't use these exact words, but this is what's coming through, in such a transient universe that is constantly shifting, that is constantly in change, that is constantly in motion. What do we cling to? What is the stability? What is that we can feel safe in and continue through our transformation? And the answer to that is that the energetic being self, that we are atoms, that we are particles. There's actually no air here. It's actually just a different density of atom particles of energy. And, you know, I'm denser, the ocean's got a certain density, the sky's got a certain density, you know, my phone's got a certain density, so does the air. And when we can, you know, our organs have got a certain density. And when you can really train yourself, right, and this is where I, you know, always harp on about, you know, using your spiritual muscles, training them, exercising them, you know, knowing what your third eye has to show you, like knowing how to heal it, and all those little intricate details that make up the atom parts of you, as well as your physical body, as well as all of that. Because when you have those skills and when you train yourself, right, so we've all got those muscles, but, you know, we can like train ourselves to fine tune them and be super acute in them, right? Acute and accurate. And it's like when you can know those energetic beings and you're that energetic being self, so like your organs and like your bones and all of that, you can literally heal yourself from that space, right? Because if you can really tap into the energetics of your atom, of your atoms, how far do you want to take this, right? Let's tap into the energetics of our atoms. Like, okay. Well, can I just take a breath for a minute? Okay, my mind just expanded like beyond what I ever thought before. Okay, right, I've just dropped into another layer. Okay, that's why I had to live stream. Okay, got it. Okay, so when we have that energetic sense, right, of like, say your liver, right, and you know that your energetic self is made up of atoms, you can literally take your consciousness, your awareness into your liver and have a look around there and see if there's anything in there that's not meant to be in there. And ask your liver what it needs and all of that jazz, right? And this is how we heal ourselves, when we can really tap into the energetics of anything. This is how we shift our life. This is how we do it. It's the inner work. And seeing all these comments, I will talk to them. I just want to say about the suicide, right? So the rise in suicide awareness, the awareness of our inner lives, and this is the biggest thing, right? So when we're, so sensitive to energy, and we are energetic beings, and there's big waves of light that sweep the planet. I know that there's some big icons that have recently committed suicide. And I know there's so many more people that commit suicide, every single day. But when we see the rise in the media, it kind of brings our attention to it more, right? And I'm hearing the message rather than just like normal civilians. I don't know where that's coming from. Because the thing that I want to share about that is that when we are energetic beings, and this is why I'm so passionate about teaching you guys that, we are energy, we are atoms, we are made up of all these different atomic particles and all of that. It's like when you can remember that, that 99% of what you're feeling, 99.9% of what you're feeling is not yours. So when we buy into the stories that you're unworthy, or you're not loved, or you don't have support, or what's the point in living, or you've hurt, or do you know what I mean? Like when you buy into those stories, that's when we go down the spiral of suicide. That's when people leave the planet, right? When we've bought into the feelings that is probably just a pile of energy that we're carrying that's probably not ours, but compounded by a belief that we've held on from when we're a child somewhere along the lines, right? So I've done an entire live stream about the depths of the truth about suicide. So if you're listening to this and you know somebody who needs to hear more information about suicide, or for yourself, please send me a private message and ask me to send you the link to the truth about suicide YouTube that I have. It is on my YouTube channel, so you can always check that out. But Carrie, when you said, like the awareness of our inner lives, it's so that, it's starting to, go into the depths of like this great big black hole. And it's exactly the same thing of what I said, it's not that the earth drops out beneath me and I fall into a deep dark hole. It's just that literally we drop into pure consciousness and pure energetic state, right? So Doreen says she feels out of sorts. I'm looking for work in a new line of work. I'm having trouble getting a job. I feel lost in direction. I also need a place to live so my kids can live with me again. I'm also very alone in all of this. Yeah. So you're not alone in all of that. There's so many people I know that are moving house, including myself. And oh my goodness, I said it on live stream publicly. I wasn't going to just yet, but I'm trusting that it's more meant to be. I was even feeling, I'm like, yeah, I am moving house, and that's why it also feels like the world is shifting beneath me, because I literally have to move house. Well, I've chosen to move house. And too many people being hateful. So yeah, and that's where, when you say, Doreen, you feel very alone in all of this. This is where like tribe is so important. So in my private groups, obviously you get a bit more support if you're part of the Life Purpose Mentorship or Trust Your Intuition. As the tribes in there are very, very connected, but also in the Reality Awareness Support Group. So Doreen, if you're not a member of my free Reality Awareness Support Group, please let me know and I can add you there. Because when you are noticing as well, like there's so many people being hateful and that sort of thing, it's like it makes you feel even more alone. And, talking about suicide, the more we feel alone and we don't have anyone and everything like that, there is like a twofold layer where we're also blocking people out of our life. So we've kind of put up this shield around our heart because we don't want to get hurt again, because there's so many people being hateful. So we put up more shields to kind of protect ourselves, but it's also very isolating because we're blocking everything out, including life, including love, including all of that. And, it's a big epitome of, being in the heart space and actually letting in love and feeling trustworthy and safe to let love in without being hurt. Which there's no guarantees on, by the way, but when you start to open your heart and walk forward in faith and trust, you do attract people who also have open hearts, that have also usually learnt to open again and discovered that the more you walk forward in open hearts, the more your vibration changes and the more you attract different people into your life and the more your reality shifts. And here we come back into this space of when your old reality is shifting out from beneath your feet, do you let it? Or do you still cling to those of the past that are, kind of bringing in that hateful energy? because there's a thing about letting go of the past and moving forward in the future, is that you can't drag any of this with you. And when you do, well, then the future reality doesn't kind of shift into the pure expanded heart consciousness that it can, because you're bringing all this dredge of, say, hateful people, right, for that example, into the present reality, which then creates your future reality, right? So when you can truly trust that when things are falling apart, and it's kind of the old cliche saying, when things are falling apart, they're falling into place. And when things are actually falling apart, that's not a real helpful saying. You're like, yeah, but fuck it, right? You're not in a good place, right? It's like the last thing you want to hear. I know that. But it is the truth. And this is where it comes into the point of my live stream. Again, the title of my live stream is that when they are falling apart, when the world is shifting beneath you, can you hold forth your vision of what you want? Because when reality shifts beneath you and you become that pure consciousness of pure atoms and energy, like I was speaking about last week, it's like when you can know that that's a point of power. And it's a point of power that you don't want to think about what you don't want. You don't want to be holding on and latching on because your mind is just scared, because there's nothing to hold on to moving forward. Does that make sense? But when you actually know the truth and you are holding strong, embodying the vision of what you've been wanting all along, all those atoms and, you know, everything that seems like it's fallen apart, all the atoms come back into reality of what you want. But you must walk forward in faith. You must walk forward in pure consciousness, in pure heart consciousness, knowing your power and using your power. There's a difference between knowing it and actually taking action on it and embodying it, right? So okay, let me just see these comments. So Carrie said in 2017 it was intense. Both parental figures of mine died within 5 months. Yeah, that's fucking huge. My relationship was dismantling and changing. It ended, moved jobs, job loss. My entire life changed and brought me to my knees. It made me search the deepest I've ever for who I was. Yeah, that's a lot falling apart in one go. So grateful being able to support you through that too. Ocean of air, 100%. How much do you breathe it in? That ocean of air, that ocean of abundance. If you're ever feeling at a loss, like, or that you don't have enough, or you don't have as much as you want or need, can you just take a look at the ocean? And this is stemming from Louise Hay's amazing visualization. And she says, you guys probably might know this, she says, if you were walk down to the ocean with a bucket and you were to take a bucket of water, or however many buckets of water, even an Olympic-sized swimming pool, if you may, of the water that you need for all of your needs to be met, whether that's money, house, whatever it is, and you then still take your Olympic-sized swimming pool home with you of that ocean of abundance of water, there's still enough for everyone on the planet when you actually think about how deep the ocean is, how unseen parts are still in the ocean today, how much actually bodies of volumes of water there is out there for every single person on the planet. So if you ever step into fear or scarcity or lack consciousness, just remember that ocean. That's just a tiny live stream iPhone 7 Facebook snapshot of the tiny bit. And just know how much is actually there. So Carrie says, it took me a while to recognize my own energy, to feel connected and grounded, never realized how much I was just existing. Yeah, I think that's very a lot of people on the planet that are actually waking up to now. And also people who have lived a celebrity famed life and there is a buying into role or identity could be so dangerous, could feel so ungrounded and not feel aligned with the image of the people have of you. Yeah, and I think that's, a big part of keeping it real. And also, what was I just going to say about that? Not living with purpose. If people don't feel like they have purpose in life, they don't. Whether you're in the spotlight or not, if you don't feel a sense of your life purpose, usually people don't, there's no purpose to live. Do you know what I mean? So, and even people who do have purpose also go into those dark spaces where they don't want to be on the planet anymore. I just want to point that out. Because ultimately what it comes down to is how much love you let in your heart, how much you feel loved, how much you are open to receiving, and how many blocks you've got up to stop that coming in, right? I'm blocking out life. Yeah, good awareness. Okay, are you willing to start letting life in, Angela? Yes, Doreen says. Okay, Carrie says, like you said, keep choosing, keep searching, keep reaching for that embodiment. Yeah, it's a constant choice. You know, it literally is a constant choice, because when we, you know, feel so much on a day-to-day basis, and if, you know, we're sometimes get swept up in busy lives and we forget to take care of ourselves and all that sort of jazz, if, you know, it is a constant choice that we need to keep making, 100%. And we've got to keep reminding ourselves sometimes, you know, and this is the thing, right? It's a constant choice to keep reaching for embodiment and embody it. It's a constant choice to choose something positive over something negative. It's a constant choice to choose a life that you actually want, rather than just going along the motions and living whatever, right? And the thing about that constant choice is that in the start and in the beginning, it feels really hard. It feels so hard. And then as you continue to do it, okay, and this comes back to the title of my live stream again, if you've been doing your work diligently and consistently, and your reality is shifting and falling apart, are you going to let it? Because what you've been working on has to dismantle the physical some point to embody the new reality you've been creating, yeah? So that constant choice to keep choosing that becomes easier, because when you embody something, it becomes who you are. You don't even think about it anymore. It's not like, oh, I'm going to think positive today. You're just naturally more positive. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it just becomes a part of who you are, right? You're welcome, Doreen. Finding you saved my life, literally. Goosebumps. Truth bumps. So beautiful. Okay, Pamela says, Easter weekend, I walked away from my mom and my sister. The drama, misunderstandings, blaming me. I refused to allow myself to be treated. Okay, so Easter wasn't that long ago. I just want to point out there's a lot of families dismantling at the moment. And it's not like dismantling and you'll never see them and you'll never speak to them again and everyone's wrong and everyone's bad and they're this and they're that, even though that might be going on the surface. What's actually happening, especially for people like us that hold a higher vibration and we can kind of see more, know more, feel more and all that sort of jazz. What's actually happening is the karmic energetic threads and ties are dismantling. So it's not that, you know, anybody's bad, wrong, right, blah, blah, even though that might be what you're experiencing, like you're being blamed and projected on. Even though that's happening, what's actually happening is the energetic shift in yourself has created a disentanglement of the energetic karmic ties that, you know, has bound you for your life and even lifetimes before. So if you are watching my live stream and you're feeling a disarray in your family, like your blood family, and maybe it might not even be a blood family, it might be other ones, but usually it's kind of speaking about blood family here because there's quite a few people that I know are experiencing this right now. Yeah, you don't want to be in either of their presence. And that's the thing, you know, when we're talking about soul tribe and talking, you know, I talk about tribe all the time. Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? Blood family. They're always going to be blood family. Doesn't mean that they've got the same level of consciousness with you. It's just like some certain friends, you might be friends, but they might not have the same level of consciousness of you. And it's not that you're better than them. It's not that they're wrong. It's not that you're right. And it's none of that. It's just there's a difference. It's just like different colors of the rainbow, right? It's just all it is. So yeah, and they believe you're walking with the devil. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know my family have actually said about the devil, but I know that they think I'm pretty crazy. I've worked through a lot of stuff around that, and I've also learned to, not just with family, but with certain friends or even just people in general. I don't really say what I do, who I am, or anything like that. I mean, if you guys catch me on live stream, obviously you're going to see it. This is what I do. This is my avenue. Before I had this avenue of sharing my gifts with you via live stream and blogging, and if you're joining in my online courses and supporting you one-on-one, my clients, before I had this avenue that could serve the world in this way, I used to want to help everyone I came into contact with, you know, in the street, in my workplace, you know, all that sort of thing. And I lost a lot of people that way. And, you know, this is where I'm talking about, you know, attracting a tribe effortlessly. So if you haven't got my free training on growing your business, whether it's online or in person, doesn't matter, you can do it and attract your tribe rather than trying to send people private messages and all that sort of thing to try and get them to join you, whatever you're doing. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's a better way. I don't know if it's a better way, an easier way. So you can really just call in the people who are totally aligned with you, and then you can have amazing conversations on live stream like this type thing. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, the point that I'm saying is, I'm getting sidetracked. The point that I'm saying, kind of in answer, sharing with you, Pamela, with your comment there, is the fact that I don't tell people what I do anymore unless they ask, right? And then if, you know, and I'll just say, oh, I'm a spiritual healer or an intuitive healer or what have you, and they'll be like, oh. or they'll ask more questions, or, do you know what I mean? Like, and I just don't say anything anymore. And, you know, the biggest thing, the biggest shift for me has been not trying to fix people, but coming to them with my heart open and expanding my heart into the space and allowing my frequency, my vibration, my powerful energetic heart space presence to transform them without me even saying a word. Yeah? And they feel this, whether you're in the vicinity of them or not. Because, you know, like, they'll shift, they feel your vibration, they feel what you're doing, and all of that sort of thing. So there is a time and a place where you might need to walk away for a period of time and do some inner work around, you know, healing your own family, like your own inner family. So, you know, working with inner child, inner father, inner sibling, like all of those sorts of, you know, inner works is what I'd be recommending for sure. And then you know, once you've done your inner work, because when shit blows up like this, you kind of do need to take space, right? And then you do your inner work, i.e., you know, what I just shared, and, you know, heal out the family traumas and stuff that are carried over, not just from like your immediate family with what's going on, but also generational is usually what we're dealing with when you decide that you're an empath and a light worker, when you actually, you know, realize that fuck, shit's going on and I need to separate and all that. It's kind of like us being the spiritual healers and empaths that we are. It's kind of it's our responsibility to do the inner work, because it shifts it for them too. And it's not that we're doing it for them out of like an over responsibility, like, oh, we better fix them. It's just like working on your inner world shifts your outer world. So when you shift your inner world and all the pain and trauma associated with that, and then the generational stuff that you're healing, because that's what automatically comes through, right? It's kind of like the buck stops here. It's like, that's enough, right? And then you heal it for the generations below you as well, plus above energetically. It shifts through the others. When you do that sort of work, and then you know, and that could take you 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, like there's kind of a different time for everyone. When you do that inner work and then you come back into a space with them, you're not triggered as much. I'm not saying you'll never be triggered, because we're humans and there's always layers, but you'll know how to hold space. You won't be triggered as deeply, especially about the current tasks. And another important intuitive thing that just dropped in is that when you own your intuitive gift, when you truly own your power in what you do vibrationally, let alone, you know, when you're actually in kind of, I guess, work mode, I should say, as a way to describe it. When you fully own that, step into your power, serving your gifts with the world in whatever way calls you, you don't get triggered as much, because you know who you are. You don't need to defend who you are. You know, when you have to defend who you are, or you defend any part of your life, or you there's a part of you that doesn't feel good enough. There's a part of you that doesn't, what's the word? I don't know if the word is like believe in your gifts and abilities. Like, of course you want to defend it, but do you know what I'm coming from? Like, it's a different standpoint. Like, when you truly know who you are, nothing anyone says bothers you. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, that's the message coming through for you, Pamela. Where am I? Queensland, Australia. Looking north. Kowada, Maroochydore and Noosa heads further up the coast. You can't see Noosa from here, but you get scared and want to cling to security. Yep, so definite. Inner child work's an awesome start there. Plus, you know, having your spiritual helpers around and feeling your connection to spirit helps you to feel safe in the unknown. Do you trust the universe? People say, yes, I trust the universe. But when it actually comes to, you're like, hang on a sec, let me cling to reality for a minute, right? Do you really trust the universe? Do you think Kate Spade and Anthony B felt they lost their purpose? Several things. I actually followed a thread on Kate Spade and I was kind of tuning into that because I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Like, what's going on there? And I feel like it was a pile of things leading up to that. So, you know, intuitively, just around the separation from her husband, I think was the biggest thing, but also a loss of identity. So lost their purpose. I don't know if it was purpose. I felt like it was more identity for Kate, like a self-worth, like needing to have the family life together type thing was the kind of thread that I picked up. Whether that's right or not, I'm not sure. I don't know, Kate. That's just an intuitive thing that I was feeling. So Carrie says, you are right, it's getting easy, the embodiment. Now I know there's no going back. Yep, not a temporary high or distraction. No, and that's the thing. It stops the ups and downs, right? And the thing that people who drop into suicide, you know, or into a space where they want to suicide and it's just like this dark despair, no purpose, nothing, right? We've all been there, right? We've all been there. Some of us take action on it, some of us don't. Some of us try to, and then it, you know, we stay. And the thing is, when we have that solid internal connection, when we find our soul tribe, the ups and downs and when you embody that connection, when you truly know how to embody it, right? It's different to knowing it. There's a difference to knowing it and to actually embodying it. It's a different feeling, right? And when we're here, that's when we're like this, right? And we're kind of, what's the word? We're subject to whatever comes through us, right? This is where we feel energy and my mind goes, oh, this is this, and like we think it's all us. When we truly embody the spiritual knowledge and the connection and we feel it in an embodied state, what happens is we become more aware. We become more present. We become more powerful because we know that not everything is us. And we have a deep sense of understanding of who we are, what our energy is, what somebody else's energy is, of what our body's doing, of that, like I was saying at the start of this live stream, right? Of like you can go energetically into your organs and see what's going on there, right? You can see what your blood's doing. You can see all of that, yeah? So when you embody it, you don't have this as much, yeah? It does become, it's not that we don't get waves, but we know how to ride the waves with more ease rather than taking it all personally. And, you know, and this is where, you know, the things of like, you know, like Kate Spade, for example, with like the loss of the relationship, when we lose that relationship, that, you know, like it becomes such a big part of who we are. We don't know how we would be without it, and the loss and the shame that, you know, of like, what are people going to think of us, and like, you know, all that sort of thing. Because I've fucking been there with that. That's why I guess I can say that. I don't know Kate personally. Not in physical form. I can feel her around now, speaking about her that much. Okay, Pamela says, my mum and sister attend church. I won't, and they have a problem with that. My sister's Catholic. Yeah, my auntie got a bit funny when I wouldn't. Well, I did go to church, and then I was like, you know, and dragged Zara along. We're just like, what are we doing here? This wasn't our scene. And I said to my auntie afterwards, I was like, yeah, we have our own church. Well, I was saying it more to Adaya. So we have our own church. It's our yoga mat and our meditation. And everybody has their own church. And some people's church is in the ocean surfing. And ultimately, a church is, if you want a church, it's about connecting to spirit. It's about connecting to your soul. It's about finding that, here we go again, this is the live stream. it's about finding your solid connection that becomes your stability, right? If you're watching the entire live stream, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's about, that's what we cling to. That's what we, embody. That's where we find that. And it's about connection. And that's what I said to my auntie. I was like, we connect to God through meditation and yoga, right? I know spiritually I rattle cages because I vibrate higher. Yeah, that too. Yep. And when you can know that and use it, not say use it to your advantage, when you can use that spiritual higher vibration with compassion and love, so that's pure heart consciousness, you know that even though they think that you're connected to the devil or whatever it is, whatever the story is, when you can be present with all their projections and expand your heart into the space, including the triggers and the hurt that you might be feeling from the words that they're projecting at you for whatever reason. When you can truly embody that higher vibration in your heart space and expand it into any space, you've truly kind of come into a sense of mastery of what your higher vibration is for. Because when you can hold that higher vibration and use it with compassion and love, that's when the transformations happen to the people around you. It's like that, I don't know what it is, I just was going to give an analogy, but what I actually just saw was like, if you can think of a fight, like all I'm seeing, and I'm not saying this is you and your family, but it's like these people projecting all this shit on you. If you can be in your heart vibration and, even if you have to visualize your heart just expanding into the universe and that collective energy that we've been talking about, and literally just like pouring that pure heart consciousness into their vibration, into their center of their heart, so it connects to their heart and expands their heart. What happens in that space? Eventually, love dissolves back into love. Can everybody feel that? Talking so much about the heart vibration. It feels so good, doesn't it? Just being in that heart vibration and expanding your heart into any space because love dissolves back into love. Oh my God, I fucking love that. Can somebody write that so I can remember that? There's a meme coming out. All right, Carrie says, I had a friend the other day who I felt really knew me. Say, do you believe in God as in Jesus Christ in text? I was like, what? That is what I wrote back. She said, I want to spend more time with you and need to know this. The energy from her was fear-based. Of course, I didn't respond. I will respond face-to-face, but I was almost like an attack. She said, you need to tell me. My feeling was she's searching and afraid. Yeah, and you can use that. I mean, like, I love Jesus Christ when I feel his presence around, either through cards or people talk or whatever. For me, it's pure faith and love and non-judgment. So I always just say, yeah, I love Jesus because his what is it? His teachings is all about non-judgment. I said that to someone once and they're like, oh, what did they say? Oh, they rambled on about, it was on Facebook post, and I was like, oh, you just missed it. You missed the point. I was like, yes, Jesus to me means pure non-judgment about anything. Non-judgment and pure compassion. And then they went on this ranting like rage, and I'm like, yeah, no. I think you've missed the deep embodiment of Jesus Christ, in my opinion. That's my personal opinion, putting my hand up to that. Makes sense to you. Also, Tara says, definitely have been creating space and sending out heart energies. Yay. Also noticing those who are in resistance state and taking steps back to enable them to be ready. Yeah. That's the thing. That's all we can do is just love them and hold our heart space in the space. You don't need to explain yourself exactly. Yeah, exactly. You don't need to say anything. Just agreeing and saying, and the bigger, I've missed it before. I was going to say, like, the biggest and most powerful thing is hearing somebody, is listening. And that's a powerful love vibration when we think, and drop into the heart space and that love vibration. Love is all encompassing. Love is non-judgment. Love is everything. So when we can hold that love vibration, that means that we don't need to defend our point of view. We know that they have their right to their point of view, whether it's right or wrong, it kind of doesn't matter. Because in pure love and that love vibration, everything exists in that, right? And the other thing as well, it's not coming from a thing, it's just like people don't understand levels of consciousness that they don't understand, right? It's like me picking up a big thick maths book, like I have no idea about it. It's something I have to learn about, right? So, if somebody was to try and explain it to me, I'd be like, and I'm not interested in maths, in those big kind of textbooks. I don't know why I'm using that analogy. So if someone was trying to explain it to me, it would kind of just wash over my head because I'm not interested in it either, right? So when you're trying to explain your point of view to someone who's just not interested in your shit anyway, it just washes over and then they just, you know what I mean? Like, anyway. All right, Carrie says, true embodiment feels like being able to ride waves and not them crash on us and lose ourselves. Last year, the waves were crashing on me. Yes, exactly. True embodiment feels like being able to ride the waves and not have them drown us. 100%. Right onto it. Your church is the water. Yay! Oh, look, and the sun's starting to sunset. Wind's actually pretty chilly. Well, chilly for Queensland. Love dissolves back into love. Write this down. Thank you. Love dissolves back into love. I freaking love it. Love it. Oh, and I've got low battery. All right, it's time to go. Sun setting, wind's cold, and low battery. Oh, look at the water. Oh, I can't even see it. Oh, I don't know if you can see it on there. When the sun's shining on the water like that, it's just, maybe if I do it this way, it looks so beautiful. Let me have a look here. It kind of really lights up. Oh yeah, I can zoom up on this. Look at that. You can see the ocean. I can't really see it. The waves light up when the sun comes over like that. So pretty. Some beautiful ocean waves to wash away. It is awesome. All right, so you're so welcome. Thanks for joining me live and for all your input and sharing. And I hope that you walk away from this live stream or turn off this live stream. Thanks, Carrie. Love you too. I hope that you walk away more embodied into your heart and are able to trust in the unknown. Because when you ask yourself, and maybe you need to walk away with that question, do I really trust in the universe if I'm still clinging onto things that aren't moving me into my future? And, really allowing yourself that space to really drop into, that. But it's dropping into it in a powerful, when I think about that, the earth dropping beneath me, but it's like dropping into pure consciousness. It's almost like there's a thread that, I don't know, kind of comes down as a way to explain it through all of the center of my chakras, all the way into my base chakra. And it's kind of like this, it's almost like a string almost. It's almost like suspends me in the pure consciousness that keeps me together, that's my energetic connection. That's my thing that I cling to type thing, but I'm not clinging to it, but it just is. Does that make sense? So, find your thing. Oh, look, see the waves are, it's hard to kind of see it on this live stream, but the waves are lighting up. Walk away with that. Find your connection at its core. That's what it is about. Find, your church is your connection. Find your connection. Surfing for people is connection. Whatever your connection is that brings your soul alive, do more of that. And have no judgment on what that looks like for yourself or for anybody else on the planet. Because everybody has their own intuition. Everybody is always connected at any given point in time. It's just their conscious awareness of the connection. So, if you would like to strengthen your spiritual organs, your psychic abilities, and truly take your vibration to the next level, Awaken Your Psychic Senses has opened. I have been quiet on social media, I know, but it is now here. It is dropped. The link is above me, and I will post a link in the comments. If you check Tuesday Tarot today, there is links in there too, so make sure you've picked your number between 1 and 6. I'm pretty sure it would have it would have come out by now since I've been on live stream, because I think I've been on live stream for a little while now. But Awaken Your Psychic Senses, it starts on the 29th of June, and that is in the Life Purpose Mentorship. So you will come in to the tribe for the period of the Awaken Your Psychic Senses course. And with that, it is definitely going into healing your spiritual organs so that you can truly build a relationship with your third eye, with, you know, all your spiritual organs. And then there is also the repair of your physical body with your spiritual body and the connections. We're going to dive deep into those. Plus, we're also coming into downloading from above all of those beautiful, beautiful downloads from other galaxies, from other planets, finding your realm, finding your home. Sounds pretty out there, but hey, if you're still with me on this live stream, I know you guys totally get this 100%. Your soul feels the resonance. So the link is above me in the live stream, or you can find it. I'll post it once I jump off this as well, and you'll obviously see more about it. It's just been released today, and I'm pretty excited about sharing this with the world, because this is technically level 2 of Rapid Ascension Awakening, and I have been intuitively guided to open each level individually to the public, because people need this, and people are at different levels of awakening and consciousness, and our beautiful eagle is about to come and show us that there's a bigger picture at play here. There's a bigger point of connection. There he is. You can see him up there, flying over. It's quite big. One. Going into the sunset. So thanks for joining me live. Lots of love to you. Keeping it real. As always, stay in your heart. Stay connected. Peace on earth.